Hello guys, welcome to the placement and training program. So I have so many wonderful videos to discuss with you as well as much more complex programs at the end. But I'm going to start off with the basic programs as well as I'm going to explain all the basic concepts, all the basic programs with each and every statement and logic. So no need to hurry up. We're going to cover up all the concepts, and this program is specifically designed for you guys to excel in your career. So without wasting much time, so let's begin with the program number 1, which is a leap year program. So before going to the program, let's discuss some of the basic concepts. So first of all, let's see what is an identifier. So identifier are the names which are associated to variables, functions, methods, objects, etc. So if any object, if we're gonna name them, that name can be referred as an identifier. So identifier basically are the names which are going to be associated to these variables, functions, methods, and objects. So let's see what is a variable now. So variable is a named memory location, right? That's the exact wording that you have to print out. It's a named memory location. So as you know, by using variables, we can store and fetch data, right? So if you want to store any data, you're gonna make use of a variable, as well as you can fetch the data from it also, right? So why we are calling it as named memory location? Because obviously if you want to store anything, you have to make use of memory in your PC, right? So that memory consists of memory blocks, right? Each and every memory is going to be divided into memory blocks, and those memory blocks consists of an address. By using that address, I am going to call the memory block where we can store as well as fetch the data from it. That address consists of zeros and ones, so I cannot practically use zeros and ones to store the data from the program, right? So that's why what we're gonna do, we're gonna name this address by using that identifier, and that concept can be called as variable. So that's why variable can be called as named memory location, where you can store the data as well as fetch the data from it. So what can be the syntax for using variable? First of all, you have to specify the data type space variable name. Again, see, name which refers to identifier, right? So variable name equals to, you can initialize some data to it, right? So some value can be specified, semicolon. Each and every statement has to end with semicolon, because semicolon acts as delimiter, which tells the compiler that this is the end of the statement, right? So all the statements in the programming language has to end with semicolon. So data type space variable name equals to value has to be given. So let's start with a basic data type called integer. So if you want to store an integer values, we're going to make use of integer, and the keyword for integer is int space, let's say variable name. So variable, let's say variable name is a equals to, let's say value is 10, then you can put semicolon. So now this a is a variable. The name a can be called as an identifier, right? So this is going to be replaced by the address, and this 10 is going to be stored in the memory block of your memory, and we can store as well as fetch the data from the memory by using this variable name, right? So that's how it works. So now let's see another concept called function. So what is a function? Function consists of set of statements, right? Set of statements which performs a specific task, right? So if you want to perform a specific task by using a set of statements, always you can enclose them inside a function, right? Now, what is the syntax of the function? Now here comes, there are different types of functions which can be varied by using its declaration, right? So let's start off with the basic one. Void, which refers, it doesn't return any value, right? Then function name, each and every function must consist of these rounded parentheses where we're going to specify number of parameters. If you don't have any number, any parameters to be passed, you can leave it empty, as well as you don't have to return any value from the function, you can leave it as void. And each and every function consists of a block where inside this block I am going to write set of statements, right? So let's, and those statements are going to end with semicolon, so that's why I'm going to put the semicolon like this, right? So this is a type of function where it doesn't return any value. If it doesn't return any value, you have to put it as void, as well as you have to specify function name. Then here you have to specify parameter list. It doesn't have any parameters, so that's why I'm going to just put the rounded brackets over there. Then body of the function, inside the body of the function we're going to write set of statements. So now this type of, now this is called as a comment, right? Inline comment, so which has to be starting with double slash. So this type of function can be called as function with no return type, because I have specified void as a return type, right? As well as no parameters to it, isn't it? No parameters, as well as no return type. So let's see another type of function. Now here if I specify int, right, now this particular function is going to return an integer value, clear? Or if I specify float, or if I specify double over here, right, float and double will be used for floating point values. So that means now this function is going to return double value, right? So now, and I haven't specified any parameters over here. Now which type of function it might be? So this is a function with a return type but no parameters. So this is another type of function. So let's see another kind. So let's say, so void, as well as here I'm specifying int a comma int b. Now here there are two parameters which are going to be passed to this function. Now this is a function with no parameters, sorry, no return type, but with parameters. So this is another type. So let's move on to the last one, where we can say now it has a return type as well as it has the parameters. Now this is a function with return type and parameters. So these are four different kinds of function declarations. You can use it according to the requirement of your program. Now these concepts we will be using in the later programs. In those programs I will explain in much more detail regarding these declarations and different types of functions as well as these concepts. Now I think you would have got some idea. If you don't have any idea about all these basic concepts, that's why I have explained it, but however I'm going to explain in detail in the programs. Clear? So now let's start off with the leap year program. So I'm going to start off with the C programs first, then we'll be moving on with we'll be combining with Java programs as well as data structure concepts. So now we'll start off with this leap year program. So as you all know that you have to make use of this header file, which is hash include stdio.h, right? So which refers standard input output dot header file, right? If you want to use input and output formatting from as well as to the program, you have to make use of this header file stdio.h. So hash include stdio.h is the header file that you have to make use for all the programs. So all the programs are going to start off with a function which is called as main function. Clear? And you can specify void main or you can specify int main. So in most of your schools, colleges as well as universities, they would have mentioned void main over here. So that's not the practical usage. So always go with int main. At the end of the main function, use the return type. So where we have discussed this, here we have discussed this. Now this is a function with a return type but no parameters. Now this main function is a function with the return type but no parameters, right? So here it specifies that it has to return an integer value. So that's why the keyword for using this return is return itself, and I'm specifying 0 over here. So now it specifies, it tells the processor that this is the end of the program. Now you can remove the program from the contention of the operating system. Clear? So that it frees all the memory. So that's why you have to make use of int main. At the end you have to use return 0, which specifies, which tells the operating system that the program is going to be terminated, right? So now our program is going to always, so how many, maybe you are using like 10 functions, 15 functions. Now here we are using a function called leapfrog as well as main, but your program always start with main function. So always remember that each and every program must consist of one main function. Without that we cannot execute the program. So now let's start off with the program. So main function, here I'm going to use of two variables. One is input year to take the input year from the user, as well as another one is val, which is a value. Now I'm using general printf statement, enter the year that you want to check. So then we are writing a scanf statement %d address of input year. Now here I'm going to take the input value from the user, right? So now here the concept is, which you have to know here is, now for example, if I am specifying the value as 2018, this is the value, this is the input year which is specified by the user over here by using this scanf statement, which is used to take input value from the user, right? So now the logic part here, if you want to check whether it is an leap year, it is a leap year or not, so you make use of these three things: whether it is divisible by 4 or not, right? As well as it is divisible by 100 or not, as well as it is divisible by 400 or not. So these are the three factors that you have to consider here, right? So if it is divisible by 4, I am going to check whether it is divisible by 100 or not, right? Then I am going to check whether it is divisible by 400 or not. If it is going to pass all these cases, I am going to call this is a leap year, right? And you can also make use of another factor, that if it is divisible by 4 and if it is not divisible by 100, right, then still it can be a leap year, isn't it? So for example, you can take the case of like 2018, right? So now here, so I'm going to divisible by 4. So let's check whether it is divisible by 4 or not. It is not divisible by 4. Directly we cannot say it is not a leap year, right? So now let's take another case, which is 2016. Now you can say, yes, it is divisible by 4, but it is not divisible by 100. It is not necessary. So still we can say it is a leap year, right? So these are the cases that we have to consider. So now let's move on with the program and see. Now here, so I'm giving an input here and I'm taking value, int value that we have given to store the value of this return type of this function. So I'm going to call the function leapfrog and I am passing this as a parameter. Whatever the input that we have given, that will be passed as a parameter to this leapfrog function. So from this part of the program, now the execution part will jump to the leap program function, right? So always remember, always these assignment statements will start from the RHS first. First it will execute this part of the statement, then it will execute this part of the statement. So first it is going to jump to the leapfrog function and it is going to pass the value, the input year, whatever the input value, the year value which is given by the user, that will be passed over here. Now you can see the declaration of this function. The return type is int and we have given a function called leapfrog and we have taken a parameter called int year. So now whatever, for example, if the year which we have given is 2016, right? So now this year value will become 2016. This mechanism is called as call by value. So now first thing I am going to check if year modulus 4. So modulus and division. So division is going to take the coefficient value. Modulus is going to take the remainder value. Now 2016 modulus 4. So what will the remainder? 0, right? So 0 equals to 0, that will become true. If it is true, we are going to make use of nested if here. It is going to pass on to this part of the program. For example, if we would have given here 2015, then what happens? This case would have become false. Directly it will jump to the else block. It will, from here it is going to jump to the else block of this program. It is surely not a leap year, right? So now, so let's say it is 2016. So now it says yes, this is true. Now we'll check one more condition, whether it is year modulus 100 equals to 0 or not. So 2016 modulus 100 equals to 0. No, it will become false. So now already it is going to be the first case with 4, it has already become true. Now even if this case becomes false, now here we can say the entered year happens to be a leap year and I'm going to display comma year. So now here the modulus d is going to be replaced this year value. So we can say 2016, the year entered happens to be a leap year. Now year modulus 400 equals to 0. That's the last case. For example, if you have given like 2000, right? So now what we're gonna do? We're gonna check with 4, right? Yes, this case will become true. Now here we're gonna check with this case. Yes, again this case will also become true. Now we're gonna check with the 400, right? So now this case 2000 modulus 400 equals to again this also becomes true, right? So like this we're gonna check all 4 different cases. If this case would have become false, again we're gonna say it's not a leap year. So this is how we're gonna end up with the first program where we're gonna check with the given year is leap year or not. So first thing, so we're gonna take the 3 factors into the consideration. One is 400 and 400. We're gonna make use of the nested loop. So first case will be with 4, the year modulus 4. If this case is true, then we can go with the 2 of the cases. If the first case will become false, directly we can go with the it is not a leap year. So this is how we have to make use of all these three different factors. So that's it about the first video, the first program. See you again with the second program. Thank you guys.